What is it that you want to be world-class at? Do that. How much profit do I want to make next month? We haven't defined any rules of our business. This is one of the biggest challenges for your profit at the bottom line. Hey, what's up, wise ones? This is Nathan Kloster. I'm the founder of Done Wisely, and I've been helping agency founders like yourself double your take-home pay. And in this video, I want to share 3 common challenges I've watched my clients struggle with for the last 15 years. The first challenge I watch my clients struggle with is they overservice clients. And this is almost an unavoidable problem if you're in a service-based business. You're always going to overservice to some degree. And as a matter of fact, I don't even discourage it because it's a little bit going above and beyond for the client, right? You want to give a little bit more than what they expected because that builds goodwill. Where it becomes a problem is when you have a client who's texting you first thing in the morning, maybe it's 5 a.m., and they're asking for something that you're supposed to have in a week. They're asking for it in an hour. That's super stressful, something none of us want to deal with. Most of us blame the client for that problem. So typically in their offers, they basically just write a very loose offer that doesn't promise any deliverable specifically, which means it turns into delivering everything. If we're over-servicing clients, we've lost control of the engagement. How do you avoid the over-servicing of the client? And this was something I had to learn, and it took me almost an entire year. What you need to do is you need to first establish how you want your business to operate. And this was something that my business coach, Greg Hickman from All Agency, really worked with me on for my first year working with him. It was, how do I want my business to function? What do I want out of my business? The other thing that Greg taught me, you have to define the rules of the game. So many times we get into these relationships with clients and we haven't had a clear definition of what the rules of the game are for ourselves first. What does winning mean for you in your business? How do you want the rules to work for you? Most of us in our own businesses, we don't even know what it means to win the game. Instead, we just keep playing something that has no rules, thinking we're going to win something, but it's an unwinnable game because we didn't even establish the game in the first place. What you want to do is get very, very clear on the rules of your business. It sounds simple, but you want to understand hours of operation, clear deliverables. The client must understand what they're going to get. They must understand when they can call you. They must understand what your turnaround time is on that communication. There's all those things they must understand, and that has to all be well defined up front. You can go and you can create the rules for your offer with your clients, and you can establish those parameters once you're engaging the client. And when they get out of those, when they're breaking the boundaries, you can simply remind them. You can say, hey, remember, I asked you not to call me at 5 a.m. Remember, I'm going to be delivering that next week, not this week. And if they get a little fussy about it, you can simply say, but you agreed to it. If you didn't want that, we should have established that at that time, but I've been working on what you agreed to this whole time. So it's really, really important to establish the rules of the game and the boundaries for how you want it played up front, and do it in a way that you can actually remind your clients and they will understand. They'll have that aha moment where they'll say, oh, right, I forgot. Thanks for reminding me. That's probably not going to happen though. They're still going to ask for it. But at least you'll be able to say, we didn't agree to that. This is really the first step in establishing a clear strategy and business model for yourself on how you're going to make money and monetize. This is one of the biggest challenges for your profit at the bottom line. If you overservice, it will cut into your margin and you will absolutely lose your take-home pay. The second main challenge, this was the hardest one for me because I'm in finance and there's a lot of people in finance. All you have to do is do a simple Google search and you'll see thousands of firms out there. They're very qualified as well. If you were to take others in my field with the same education and the same amount of experience, the reality is they're probably going to do a great job. How am I going to differentiate myself among all the other people doing all the things that are similar to me in the market space? And if I'm being honest, I spent the better part of 10 years thinking about this, and I tried all these different things, but they were all the things that were sort of high-level superficial stuff. What I mean is the branding on my website. I would struggle with the copy that I would put on the website. I would obsess over every single word to the point where it created analysis paralysis. I didn't want to put anything out at all because I wanted it to be on point. I want it to be a good reflection of me. As a matter of fact, this is my very first YouTube video, and I have been encouraged by multiple people for over 5 years that I should be sharing my knowledge with all of you. And it's taken me this long to do it. And to even prove the point further, I have right now someone who's here helping me film this. I have the whole thing going because that's the way I perceive how important my brand is. But I will tell you, it's not the main thing that's going to differentiate you, and the aesthetic of your brand is not actually the differentiator at all. It's simply the promise your clients think you will deliver on. That's the most important thing. Maybe you're going to be the fastest at what you do. Maybe you're going to be the cheapest. I actually don't recommend that because it's usually a recipe for disaster in terms of profits. But if you could do it, that's a brand. You may be easy to work with, right? It may be super easy to work with you. You may have a team that has talent that most other people just simply don't have. The key thing is, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's the way the client feels when they receive the services that you provide that will establish your differentiating factor. It will literally become what's unique about you. When you're thinking about your differentiator, I would not get hung up on the aesthetics or even necessarily the relationships, like the deep connected relationships that you have with your clients. And that was good in the beginning because it's a great way to start the business. People like you, they want to work with you. It's easy for them to say yes. You deliver, they come to trust you, and you build up a pretty good book of business and reliable clients who keep coming back for your services. The problem is, though, it doesn't scale beyond you. So at some point, you're going to get to a place where you've given all you can, and you're going to start to feel the pressure around not being able to grow anymore, and that you might be overworked yourself personally. You might not be over-servicing the client, but you will be overworked because you've reached your maximum capacity. You've built everything around that relationship with you, and all the clients want to talk to you. Those are great, but they're hard to scale, right? If you have something that is a little bit more intentional around the value, again, like you're thinking about, I'm delivering it faster than everybody, I'm more accurate, I'm more reliable, we're more available, we're easier to work with. Those are the things that will lead to a great relationship with your client versus them just liking you. I speak from experience because I worked on likability for like literally 10 years. And it's very difficult to scale because ultimately the business gets based around you. You have to decide what is it that you want to be world-class at, and then go all in on that one thing. In my business, right, what you hear a lot is that accountants and finance people, they are terrible communicators. They do not respond to emails, they do not pick up their phone, and if they do, they respond 2-3 days later. And I will be honest, sometimes we still struggle with that because when you get into busy times, it's hard to keep up. But we are consistently working on becoming world-class at communicating with clients. We want to be the absolute best at that. We want to make sure that every email gets responded to within an hour. We're not there yet, but that's where we're working towards. And we're focusing on that one thing because that in itself is how we do what we do. And we believe that clients will value that enough that they will choose us over others simply because they want better communication. You have to find what is a big pain point in your niche for your clients and solve that. Focus on the how, not the what. That will lead to higher profit margins all around because you will have a focus, you will know how to deliver it effectively and efficiently, and that will translate into real money falling to the bottom line and ultimately into your bank account. So the third challenge that I watch my clients struggle with, and even as a finance guy, I struggle with it myself, was they live in the past. They log into their bank, they check their bank balance, they look at their P&Ls, they say, I have profit or I don't have profit, and they move on. But then they wonder why month after month after month, they keep getting the same result and nothing changes. The reason is because they have no prediction of what they want the future to be. The majority of clients that I've worked with, and I should just say founders, business owners, myself, all of us included, we all start out looking in the past. It's easy to look in the past because it's happened. It's harder to look to the future because you have to create that future before you can go and look at it. I think it might have been Steve Jobs who said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. The best way to do that is to sit down and figure out, what do I want these numbers to look like month to month? How much profit do I want to make? How much would make me happy, right? Not just like what I think is possible, but it would be like the goal that's gonna make me happy. And then I put that down and I make the P&L look the way I want it to, and then I go make that materialize. Most likely outcome is you're probably not going to reach that goal the first time. But you can take the lessons learned and you can reset that goal the next month, make some tweaks and adjustments, and keep iterating on it until you get there. This is literally how you double your take-home pay. If you have no vision for the future, if you have no understanding of what you want your financials to look like, if you have no understanding of how many people you're gonna need on your team to execute the thing that it is you're trying to execute, if you have no idea how many clients you're gonna have to take on, if you have no idea how many people need to be aware of your business, you're never gonna double your bottom line. And that is what it is. So the most important thing, and this is the thing to pay attention to, the biggest thing, is that you have to live for the future. You have to understand where you want this thing to go and stop living in the past. All right, so this is my first video, and I know I'm supposed to have like a call to action or some link in the description that you're supposed to go to. I've got none of that. So if you want to follow my journey and you want to see more about what we're doing to help clients literally double their take-home pay, for now, just subscribe. And as time goes on, I'll have some more resources for you that you can do all the clicky clicks and all that kind of stuff. So.